Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. This is going to be my review, detailed look at the Skitarii, or Skitarii, however you want to pronounce that. It's really up to you. If you can hear a little bit of a noise in the background, I think it's just the heater. It comes on momentarily. But it kind of originates from the word where you've got an eye and then you've got another eye afterwards. So it'd be Skitarii eye. That's kind of like the origins and things. But either way, this is my army for 2016. If I'm going to be purchasing models other than Space Marines and my main Imperial force, it will be for this army. I'm going to try and get 1,000, maybe 2,000 points over the course of the year. I'm going to try and get them painted as well. There'll be plenty of videos coming out with them. I think I've probably just put out a video of the models that you get in the Start Collecting box set. This book, yeah, it's very thin. It runs you about 80 pages. With the discount, I think you can get it for about £18. You're probably best off getting this one as well. This is the Cult Mechanicus one. So all in all, it'll cost you about £36 for kind of like a combined book, really, for both forces. And that's if you want to go down the GW side of things. You can get both of these books, or you can wait for the rumoured combined book that has both of these in with some new units that I hear is coming out in a couple of months, but it's only rumours and things. And then that way you can still get your discount off Games Workshop products and things. Or the alternative is to go for Forge World and get the Mechanicum Tagmata, which is cheaper than both of these two. It's £32. However, the models are a lot more expensive. They also cost more points, which means it kind of evens itself out in a way. And they've got some big Cybernetica kind of large troops that are really nice models. And overall, I do prefer the models that Forge World make for the Mechanicum. There we go. I just thought I'd bring that into the whole kind of review. And so without further ado, let's just have a little look at this book. So I said before, it's quite a small, thin book. I will be going through a lot of everything. It's hardback, made in China. I think most of Games Workshop's books and quite a few of their models are made in China nowadays. I know that even the Forge World books are made in China. Anyway, let's have a little look. So it's nicely laid out, good cover, good quality paper as normal. Tells you a little bit about them, a little bit about their weapons and things, gives you a nice map, war cohorts, a bit about Mars, which is very interesting. I love how they've got this, the Iron Ring, which is the largest kind of man-made structure in the whole galaxy, which is pretty awesome. I love how they kind of like tried to terraform it, and they were successful. But then, because of all the industry and the Forge Worlds and things, it became toxic. The deserts were barren and things like that. It really goes into it. These are some of the Forge Worlds. So you've got Metallica, Ryza, Grya. You might have heard a couple of them. Then you've got a timeline, which all the codexes seem to be doing at the moment. You've got this lovely artwork. I thought artwork was dead because of the new format of these codexes, whereby they show you pictures of their models, their products. But there's plenty of nice artwork to be found in here, and I actually like the format. I think I said it in my Orc Codex review that I wish they'd just bring out all the codexes in that format, and I think this is probably the best format for codices. So you've got these nice chunks of text with a lovely bit of artwork for the specific units. Very unique army. I love the feel of them. I love the look of them. Even if they're not the best on the battlefield, they certainly look the part. They certainly look part of Grimdark, with the exception of a couple of the models. And then you've got some kind of you've got them set up in battles and things as well. So there we go. You've got some nice heavy metal examples. And then you get the forces of the Skitarii. It's worth noting that the normal data sheet is you only need 2 troops, and in theory that could be 2 squads of 5 rangers if you really wanted. But notice there's no HQ at all for the Skitarii, which is great in a way, because you can just take 10 Vanguard or Rangers and then fill up your 4 heavy support choices. You've got 4 heavy support, only 2 fast attack, you've got 4 elites, and then it looks like you've got optional 6 troops. You can have 8 lots of troops if you really wished. And then we get into the codex itself. I will be going through all the rules and things like that of them. You've got the war gear list. It's not that large. The Space Marine one is a whole page, and I think the writing is a little bit smaller. It's a new army, new weapons and kind of rule types that you might not have ever heard before. The thing is with Skitarii, they haven't got the best strength, toughness or initiative, but they've got an okay save, they've got good ballistic skill, and they've got an okay leadership too. And they've got this feel no pain, which there's so many armies now that have like chapter doctrines and things like that that have feel no pain, where you take a wound and your model in all fairness should die but can kind of get back up on a 6+. There's lots of like little things in this codex, or for the armies particularly, that boost it, and I'll go into some of those. So your main troops, these are your Vanguard or your Rangers. Your Rangers are a little bit more expensive at 65 points, but your Vanguard are only 55. And for that, you get 4 Skitarii, you get a Vanguard Alpha, or you get a Ranger Alpha, and he's essentially got one extra attack. He's got 2 wounds, which is pretty cool when you think about it, because normally you'd think of Orc Knobs as having 2 wounds, and veteran sergeants for Space Marines only have 1, don't they? And then he's got 1 extra attack, he's got a better leadership, and they come with this Alpha and the 4 normal kind of troops. And you don't have to pay anything extra for the Alpha either. And the Alpha can take ranged, melee, special issue, war gear, and relics of Mars. So he can actually take one of the relics in just your normal troops. Kind of offsets the whole HQ thing. Anyway, so I'm just going to skim over a few things, so do forgive me if there's something that I completely missed that completely boosts the army or something like that, because I'm still quite new to it. But essentially your Vanguard, in my opinion, are more of your kind of standard troops, kind of, I say close, medium range troops, medium to close range troops. They've got their main weapon is the Radium Carbine. It's an 18-inch Assault 3, Strength 3 rad poisoning weapon. So it's 3 shots. So even a little squad of 5, you're going to be knocking out 15 shots from 5 of them, hitting on 3s, probably wounding on 5s. But then it's got this rad poisoning. All the radium weapons have this. Any rolls of a wound of a 6 causes 2 wounds, and each wound is allocated and saved separately, which is interesting. So that's their standard weapon, which is pretty decent. And then you can have 1 Skitarii Vanguard can have a enhanced data tether and omnispecs, and they kind of like either reduce the cover save and I think change the leadership qualities or something like that. And then 2 can replace their carbines with 1 item from the special weapons list, which includes an arc rifle, a transuranic arquebus, and a plasma caliber. And then if you've got 10 in the squad, you can have an additional special weapon. So in theory, you could have 10 Vanguard or Rangers, because it's the same for both of those squads. 3 of them with a transuranic arquebus, or 3 of them with plasma caliber. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, oh, that's excellent. You can essentially have kind of 3 special weapons in a squad of 10. That's pretty decent. But then the points kind of let it down in a way, because the points are very expensive. You're getting 5 main guys here that have 3 shots each for 55 points, and the plasma caliber, which has 3 shots, is basically an assault plasma gun, but with 3 shots, and it's still got the gets hot. Still got the gets hot. 30 points, so more than half the cost of the entire squad on 1 weapon, on a 1 wound, save 4 troop choice. So I'll just go through their stat line. So the weapon skill is 3, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, toughness 3, wounds 1, initiative 3, attacks 1, leadership 8, and save 4. They've got Skitarii Warplate, which is the 4+, and the Radium Carbines. Their special rules, they've got Doctrina Imperatives, which is kind of like special kind of powers that you can roll during the battle. Feel no pain, and they've got Relentless. Remember that, Relentless. So that's kind of like your Vanguard squad, kind of a medium range close quarters squad. Then you've got your Rangers, which I'd say medium to long range. The only difference really, because they can take all the different weapon options, they've got exactly the same stats, even their alpha, is they've got move through cover, which I think a few people do miss out. They've still got relentless, but they've got a Galvanic Rifle. Now the Galvanic Rifle is one of these ones, and it's a range 30-inch, it's rapid fire, precision shots, strength 4, AP 4, so think of it as kind of like a souped up bolt gun really. Its range is 6 inches more, its AP is better, it's AP 4 instead of AP 5, and it's still rapid fire. Doesn't have any extra like rules associated to it other than the precision shots. So you can have a squad of 10, 30 inches away, all shooting at Devastator squad or even a normal troop squad to get rid of that sergeant with the power fist or whoever. And 65 points, and then you can include additional ones for 11, and the Vanguard additional for 9. With my little squad that I made, I kind of kitted out the alpha. I gave him one of these Phosphor blast pistols, which is 5 points. I also gave him an arc maul, which is 20 points. Not too bad, because he's got 2 attacks and he's got 2 wounds. Don't mind doing that. It's up to you whether you want to give him a power sword, because his strength is only 3, and his initiative lets him down at 3. Just bear that in mind. But they're your 2 troop choices, and you have to take 2 of them. So it's up to you whether you want to take 2 squads of 10 Rangers or one squad of 5 Rangers and a squad of 10 Vanguard. But they're really nice little models. The only downside about them, I would say, is the cloaks have to directly match up to their legs. So you're going to get a few guys with cloaks and legs that look exactly the same, and their cloaks are connected to their kind of main body. So that's the only thing I would say. I think it's odd because I would have liked to see more customization, but at the same time they've got to have the cloaks, otherwise it just doesn't, you don't get that effect, which is a shame because I'd love to just spam so many of these troop choices. Elites. I haven't really heard much about these Skitarii Rust Stalkers. I like the models, they're pretty cool. They're very thin and spindly like. 160 points, you get 5 of them. And you get a Rust Stalker Princeps who's got more attacks and better leadership, but their weapon skill and ballistic skills 4. They've got bulky, Doctrina Imperatives, Dune Strider, Feel No Pain and Furious Charge. So they've got quite a few nice little extra rules there, and they've all got the battle plate armour, the transonic razors, the cord claw and mind scrambler grenades. The mind scrambler grenades, it's got this neural trauma, so hits by this weapon always cause a wound on a to wound roll of 4. So you've got grenades here that you can roll to wound on a 4, and they're haywire, and they're assault 1 and they're blast. Pretty decent. The only thing kind of letting them down, I mean they've got initiative 4, but the only thing letting them down really is their toughness 3. So they look like an alright choice there. The only thing I'd say is deployment methods. Throughout this whole book you'll see that they don't really have any deployment methods. I think that they may well have some kind of transport coming out where you can deploy them, but they can't deep strike, they can't teleport in or anything like that. It's just deployment methods. Like Imperial Guard, they have chimeras and Valkyries and all kinds of things, but this army doesn't really have deployment methods, so they're not completely weak in terms of saving and things. 4+ isn't too shabby. If you're going up against armies with AP 4, you might come into some problems. So it's just delivery methods. They're good units, but it's going to be difficult to get them to where they need to go without suffering casualties. And then you've got Skitarii Infiltrators. Now these do have stealth, and they have infiltrate, which is pretty cool. And they have this neurostatic aura. All enemy models within 6 inches of 1 or more of the models with this special rule will subtract 1 from the ballistic skill, weapon skill, initiative, and leadership. Now that's pretty cool to have that much of a knock. The infiltrators themselves are running at weapon skill 4, initiative 4, leadership 8. So already you're knocking them down, their weapon skill to 3, well if it's marine equivalent, to 3, ballistic skill to 3, initiative to 3. These are pretty good for that. And they've got this sub-carbine and power sword. So they've all got these power swords, and then they can also take fletchet blasters and taser goads. I don't know why, but I always just look at that and see toads instead of goads, but there we go. Taser toads. 185 points for them, 160 for them. They're your elites. They're the only elites. I like them, they're pretty cool models. I don't know how useful they are, but I just like to get them just because of the models. They're pretty cool model. Another cool model, I really like this model. They're a little bit weak in a way. They do have this incense cloud that gives them a 5+ cover save. They've only got 2 hull points, but I'm talking about the fast attack choice, which is the Sidonian Dragoons. 45 points. I think it's quite expensive for what you get, really. Although you do get strength 5, you get armor 11, so it's going to be impervious to, you know, your standard fire. Strength 5 as well. You get the Dune Strider, you get Crusader, and you can change the Taser Lance with the Radium Carbine. People have been banging on about this Radium Carbine. It's a 2-shot rad poisoning sniper, 30 inches. You've got 2 shots coming in. If you wound with those 2, essentially you're going to make 4 wounds. Well, on the 6, sorry, I have to obviously point that out. I'm not a complete idiot. But that's an extra, that's free, which is pretty decent. So if you don't fancy getting these guys in close, because it seems like all troop choices nowadays have grenades of some sort, and his initiative's only 3. Personally, I would have liked his attacks to drop to 2 and his initiative to be 4 or something like that. He's got the Dune Strider's rule, which you can add an extra 3 inches to the maximum move distance when it runs and when it makes its charge move. So it's very agile, very quick. I don't think I'd go for one of them. I think I would because they're a cool model, but what I'd probably go for is the Iron Strider. So now we're instantly on heavy support. So a few pages in, we're now on the heavy support. 55 points, so 10 points more, but you get a twin-link Cognis autocannon. Games Workshop are now bringing out these weapons called Cognis. Essentially, they can make snapshots at 5+ instead of 6s, which is decent because you can now fire this at flyers, and it's got an okay chance. It's got the precision shots as well, and you can change it to twin-link Cognis las cannon if you wish. So you could have 2 or 3 of them running around. I know that's 150 points, but how much is a Predator really? A little bit less than that. But you've got 3 of them that are separate. You can have 3 of them in a squad. It's worth mentioning you can have up to 5 in that slot, and you can have up to 5 in that. Just bear that in mind, because you can only have 2 fast attack choices in the army. So that kind of like limits your choices for the Sidonian. Whereas the Iron Strider, I think you can have 4 heavy support. So just bear that in mind. You could literally have 4 of them walking around. They're an alright choice as well. Their ballistic skill is 4. Their weapon skill isn't very good. The question is it worth the extra 20 points for the las cannons? I mean, you're running at 75 points for 2 hull point armor 11 unit. A couple of autocannon shots at it or something like that, and it doesn't have the 5+ cover save, which is a bit odd because to me they look exactly the same chassis wise. I don't know why you can't have the incense cloud on this, and then, well, everybody would be going for that, wouldn't they, if it had the 5+ cover save. And then you move on to the big daddy of the whole booklet, the whole codex, which is the Onega or Onaga Dune Crawler. Runs in at 90 points, excellent heavy support choice. Comes with the Eradication Beamer, which is not too bad. At short range, so 9 inches, you get Strength 10, AP 1, Heavy 1. Then 9 to 18 inches, you get a Blast, and it drops it down to Missile Launcher stat, but you get the Blast. And then 18 to 36 inches, it drops it to only Strength 6, so Strength 6 up to 36 inches, but it's a big Blast, and it's AP 5. That's good for Hordes, Orcs, Eldar. You know, that's pretty good, but it's only 36 inches maximum range. So standard weapon is not too shabby, although you have to scuttle it close to anything, like within 9 inches, to use that strength 10. Even 18 inches with strength 8 isn't too bad. But the crawler, it can't run, but it's never slowed by difficult terrain and automatically passes dangerous terrain tests. Could just imagine these, like, you know, scuttling along the battlefield at pace. Well, I say at pace, it can't run, but see where I'm coming from. It's got this Emanatus force field, which gives it a 6+ invulnerable save, but it adds 1 to any invulnerable saving throw for each model from the same squadron within 4 inches. Essentially, if it's got a 6+, invulnerable. If you have another one, that'd be 5+, and a third one, that'd be 4+. But you can only have 3 in one squadron, so you can't have a squadron and another squadron, and obviously then have like a 1+ invulnerable or 2+ invulnerable. It doesn't work like that. It's only within the squadron. So that's a bit more survivability, and it'll need it because it's armour's 12, which isn't too shabby. The rear is 11, which is quite good. 3 hull points, which isn't too bad. Ballistic skill is 4. The way I'm running it at the moment is I'm having the big bad neutron laser on there, which is range 48, strength 10, AP 1, heavy 1, blast, concussive. So this is ideal. The little blast is ideal for clearing out devastators, terminators, elite troops, but also with the strength 10 concussive, it's good against vehicles. Might be pretty good against land raiders. Knights possibly, but it's going to be difficult for you to try and get that firing line where they don't have the iron shield, things like that. And you can also get the twin linked heavy phosphor blaster, or the Icarus array. It's a twin Icarus autocannon with a built-in Gatling rocket launcher and built-in Daedalus missile launcher. The Daedalus is a strength 7 AP 2 heavy 1 Skyfire Gatling rocket launcher. It's all 48-inch range, by the way. Gatling rocket launcher, strength 6 AP 4, heavy 5, ignores cover, and the autocannon is of course interceptor, Skyfire, twin linked. I think it says here the autocannon can use the interceptor rule to find the enemy turn, and then the other weapons can still fire, and they can fire at different targets. However, because they're Skyfire, it's only going to be on 6s, I think, because you're snap shooting. So just bear that in mind, that although the weapons are pretty good, it's really a dedicated anti-fly unit. It's not going to do too much against ground units. The twin-linked Icarus autocannon, it's twin-linked, so that's not too bad, but because it's Skyfire, you've really got to aim it at flyers, and that's one of the reasons why I've equipped it with the neutron laser. And then you come to the formations. You've got the battle maniple. You've got a unit of Vanguard, Rangers, Ruststalkers, Infiltrators, Dragoons, Ballistarii, and Dune Crawlers. And then you've got a Crux Mechanicus. You can re-roll your Warlord traits and has preferred enemy. Data lock and tireless advance. So that's pretty decent, but you do have to use every kind of model that's available. The War Cohort, which includes 3 maniples. So you can have a battle maniple, and then you can have these two. I'm going to talk about these now. You've got Skitarii and Kilcade, which is pretty good because it uses that Neurostatic Aura special rule, Malignant Susurrations. All models within 12 inches of them get this reduced ballistic skill, weapon skill, things like that. Slaughter Sprint, they can charge in the assault phase even if they made a run move, which is pretty crazy. So they can obviously move, they can run, and then they can assault. Yeah, you've got the ability there, if you take that, to get them in quick into a squishy unit. Iron Strider Cavaliers, you've got 2 units of Dragoons, 1 unit of Ballistarii, and then you've got some special rules there. And that's it. You've got the four formations, Battle Maniple, which has a bit of everything, the War Cohort, which has 3 Battle Maniples, 3 of those, and then you've got 2 kind of like our specific. I would have liked to have seen a Ranger and Vanguard formation, or even a Dune Crawler formation, where you take 3, if they all fire at one target, they have Armor Bane or something like that. That would have been pretty cool, but I guess not. And then you've got some more pictures and things. You've got the Warlord traits, I won't go into them. You've got these Doctriner imperatives at the start of your movement phase. Basically they increase the army's abilities in the shooting phase, and each one can only be used once during the game. And then you've got all the weapons, the range weapons, you've got the melee weapons, special issue war gear, the armour, so you've got the war plate and the battle armour, vehicle equipment, relics of Mars, tactical objectives, and then the profiles of all the weapons and things. As you can see, quite a small army list. Small army, it's got lots of little rules that kind of help it, but it's not really excellent at one particular thing. It's not incredible at shooting, it's just okay. It's got some decent weapons with lots of little special rules and things. Its toughness isn't the best. Its save is alright. If anything, I would probably say that this army is good against hordes for its shooting. It's good against anti-flyers with the Ballistarii and the Dune crawlers. It's good against heavy armour, because you could take the Ballistarii with las cannons and then the Dune crawlers with neutron lasers. And it's good at range as well. A group of rangers 30 inches away. Close combat, I wouldn't say it's the best. There's no adequate delivery methods. So it is lacking a little bit in assault because of its low initiative and just delivery methods. I mean, if you were to charge the Rustalkers are pretty decent. They're only toughness 3. Yes, they've got 2 wounds, but they're only toughness 3. Their neurostatic aura really does help if you get the Infiltrators. Greatest armour is only 12, and like I said, doesn't have any flyers either. So its greatest kind of heavy support, you'll probably have to put it in an anti-flyer, anti-air role if you needed protection, because these units would be quite vulnerable against flyers and things. Overall, it's a great little army, great little start to an army. It's kind of like when Tau came out, they didn't really have many units and things, and everybody had to get used to some of the brand new rules. But I think when you combine it with the Mechanicus codex, it just fleshes it out a little bit more, gives you many more options. So thanks ever so much for joining me today. Hope you found some of this useful, a little bit of an overview. I wasn't too sure about them before, but I like them as a little army, and I'm looking forward to painting the models I have and bringing a couple of battle reports out for you all. So thanks ever so much for joining me for this kind of like little review of the codex. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.